Hi, this is video for the 10th grade Halacha class. This is going to be for both classes. Welcome to my home office where I will be doing the learning tonight. So everyone, basically, this is going to be just like our regular class, and you can go back and listen to it, but this is going to count as the notes for today. So basically listen, take notes, and then during our next class, I'll pick up from here. I'll review a little bit, but I'm not going to go through everything. We're going to take this as our class. Now, for one class, this will be review. One class, this will be new information. But we're talking about Tosefet Shabbat. We're talking about when Shabbat ends. About bringing in Shabbat early and having extra time for Shabbat. And the question was, why is there such a concept? So there's two opinions. If you go to page 116, we saw the view of the Bnei Yissaschar, a Hasidic Rebbe from the 17 and 1800s. And he says that it's part of showing our love for the mitzvah, that just as we want to show that we love every mitzvah, that Hashem gives us the opportunity to accept Shabbat early to show how much we love the mitzvah of Shabbat, that if we brought it in the last possible second, and if we rushed, and counted down the minutes till Shabbat ends, and say Havdalah or Baruch Hamavdu Mikrosh Tol, like right when Shabbat ends, what's the message we're sending? We're saying, Shabbat's a burden, Shabbat's difficult. I'd rather be doing something else. So Hashem gives us the mitzvah to Tosefet Shabbat to give us a chance to show how much we love the mitzvah. The Orach Chaim has a little different approach. So on page 116 in the book, so I don't have a whiteboard to write the number, but 116 in the book. So the pasuk says in Shemos Perek Lamed Aleph pasuk Tet Zayin, V'shamar b'nei Yisrael Shabbat, that the Jewish people should keep Shabbat, la'asot et Shabbat, to make Shabbat, l'dorotam brit olam, for all generations as a brit, as a covenant. So the question is, what does it mean the Jewish people are la'asot et Shabbat? We don't make Shabbat. Shabbat comes on itself. We don't make anything. Shabbat's just there. It's a day that Hashem created. So the Orach Chaim, if you look in the purple box in the bottom of 116, says, Od yirtze be'omer la'asot et Shabbat, ki ma shemosif michol al hakodesh. What does it mean that we make Shabbat? Ki ma shemosif michol al hakodesh. That we add on from chol to kodesh. The fact that we add on holiness, we add on more kedusha to a regular day, to Friday. Yaskim Hashem likroto Shabbat. Hashem agrees with us, right? Basically, we're telling Hashem what to do. We're declaring, hey, Hashem, I know you said Shabbat is going to start at Shkiat Chama, let's say at 6 p.m. I want to start at 5 p.m. What you going to do about it? Nothing, right? We're saying, Hashem, we want Shabbat to start now. We're almost telling Hashem, we want Shabbat to start now. We're almost bossing Hashem around. So he's saying, Nimsa Zeha'ish Osa Shabbat Mamash. That person, the person who accepts Shabbat early, is making it Shabbat. Kishaot miyom vav v'gam shod miyom aleph shehem chol b'nei Yisrael sim otam kishabbat. That basically, we are creating a sense of partnership. Hashem is entrusting us with the idea of creating Shabbat. Hashem is saying, you can make Shabbat. You can make Shabbat. Okay, one second. Okay, the next reason I'll skip it. I fully understand it myself. But that's the idea. The idea is that Hashem wants it to be a partnership. That, Hashem creates the day of Shabbat. Shabbat's only meaningful and relevant if we're actually keeping it, if we're making something of it. If Hashem can create a seventh day of Kedusha, a seventh day of Shabbat, if no one keeps it, what does it mean? What is it doing? How is it impacting the world? So every Shabbat's a partnership. Hashem creates the day, but it takes our initiative and our actions to make it special and to bring that into the world. And so Hashem wants it to be a Shabbat, to be a partnership with us, and we make it a partnership by bringing in Shabbat either early or laying it out late. Okay. Now there's a bit of discussion here about, are there any limitations as to what you can or cannot do when you make Shabbat early? So let's say it's the summer and Shkiat Chama is 8:30, and you want to make Shabbat at 7, okay? So can you say Kiddush before Shkiat Chama? Can you daven Mariv for Shemona Esrei before Shkiat Chama? So the answer for the most part is yes. For the most part, when we say it's Shabbat, and that's it. Now there is an opinion here. If you look in the bottom of 120 in the Mishnah Brura, he mentions this opinion that for Kiddush you should try to have 3 meals. I'm sorry, you should try to have 3 meals on Shabbat itself, on Shabbat proper. So he's saying that if you had dinner before Shkiat Chama, you should try to eat something Friday night after Shkiat Chama, which usually is not an issue because even if we make Shabbat early, usually your dinner is running after Shkiat Chama. Certainly, it's if you start Shabbat 7, and Shkia is 8:30, you're probably still eating dinner on some level. 8:30, he just says to make sure you eat something after Shkiat Chama. Okay, now as far as to fulfill a mitzvah, now remember there's a mitzvah of Tosefet Shabbat. There's a mitzvah to add on to Shabbat. So how long do you have to add on? So here, so Mishnah Brura in the purple box on page 118. Sorry, I went backwards a little bit. That really lichatchila, the best way to do it is to not wait till the last possible moment to accept Shabbat. That really you should wait until, once you see the sun setting. Yes, the way he puts it is once you see the sun reaching the trees. If you look outside and the sun is like near the trees already, that means it's going to be setting pretty soon. So that's a good time to start to make Shabbat. So someone who is machmir in themselves, poresh is like to separate, and separates themselves from melacha, chatzi sha'a, like a half an hour before Shkiat Chama, or I'll call panim shlish sha'a, or at the very least a third of an hour, 15 minutes. Kodem shkia, ashrei lo. So someone who does that like they're praised. So according to all opinions, he's saying, if you accept Shabbat 15 minutes or more before Shabbat, then you've really fulfilled the mitzvah of Tosefet Shabbat according to all opinions. That if you light candles 2 minutes before Shkiat Chama, it's hard to call the Tosefet Shabbat. Are you really adding on to Shabbat for 2 minutes? Not really. You don't really feel that so much. But 15 minutes or more, then you've really done the mitzvah. So anyone who lights candles 18 minutes before Shkiat Chama, you've fully done a mitzvah of Tosefet Shabbat. And the point is that that's a separate mitzvah. There's a mitzvah to accept Shabbat early. And you've accepted the mitzvah of Tosefet Shabbat by doing so 15 minutes or more. Okay. Let's skip ahead a little bit. Oh, now how do you accept Shabbat? Let's say you want to accept Shabbat early. So certainly if someone lights candles, they've accepted Shabbat. If you're living in a home and your mother lights candles and you're with her, certainly you accept Shabbat. Now, for men, it's a little more complicated because they're not home. So if you look at the Mishnah Brura on page 121 in the purple box, so he says, so you can accept Shabbat just by saying it. You can just say, it's now Shabbat, or now I accept Shabbat. That's enough. Just throw it al yedei dibur, just verbally. Shimakablo alav l'shem tosefet Shabbat. As long as you say so clearly that you're accepting Shabbat. Al yedei amirat barchu, or when you say barchu in shul. Now that's mariv. Now typically when you go to shul, if you daven in shul Friday night, you'll realize that you don't start with mariv, you start with mincha and kabbalat Shabbat. Typically, you daven barchu, meaning in the winter especially, you're davening barchu well after Shkiat Chama. So if someone's going to shul and they want to accept Shabbat upon themselves early, they really need to declare, when they get to shul or beforehand, I'm accepting Shabbat now. Right? This way, when they get to shul after mincha, they should say, I accept Shabbat now. You can't accept Shabbat before mincha because mincha has to be done on Friday. It's the afternoon tefillah for Friday, so you can't declare Shabbat and then the mincha because it's too late. Now it's the next day halachically. So the point being that yes, you need to accept Shabbat verbally in advance. Now let's say you're somewhere like you're in camp, right, and you're not laying candles. Let's say someone's laying candles for the whole camp or something like that, or in Shabbaton. So then then you should accept Shabbat on your own. You should say, I now accept Shabbat. 15 minutes before Shabbat. This way, you're doing the mitzvah of Tosefet Shabbat. You're accepting Shabbat early for yourself to make sure that you do this mitzvah. Otherwise, you might not do it. Okay. Now, how early can you accept Shabbat? Can you do it 10 in the morning, Friday morning? I mean, wake up Friday morning and say, I'm ready. I cooked. I'm ready. I know where to go. I'll accept Shabbat 10 in the morning. So the answer is no. There is a limit as to how far you can go. So if you look in the green box in 121, this is the Ramah. So let's say you want to accept Shabbat early. You want to lehakdim. You want to do it early. Miplag hamincha ve'elach. So your limitation is plag hamincha. Plag hamincha is about 2 3/4 halachic hours before Shkiat Hachama. So, on the website I go for these kinds of things for Zmanim. I'll do the zip code for Central. So on my Zmanim for Friday, just so we get a sense of this, sunset, Shkiat Hachama is at 4:36. And my Zmanim is a really nice website to look at for just kind of get a sense of these Zmanim. So look at there it is. Sunset's 4:36. So 18 minutes before that, for Hadlaka Nero, it is 4:18. And Plaga Mincha is 3:34. So nowadays, since the days are so short, it's actually only like an hour difference, which is pretty extreme. Very different. It could be or more. So basically, Plaga Mincha is your limitation for. Now some people brought up the idea of Rabbeinu Tam. What is Rabbeinu Tam? So this also applies to ending Shabbat. We're not supposed to end Shabbat in a rush. And the idea is that just as we start Shabbat early, we end Shabbat a little bit late. Now, when people say they follow Rabbeinu Tam, so Rabbeinu Tam had the opinion that it becomes dark 72 minutes. That Seder Kochavim is 72 minutes after Shkiat Hachama, as opposed to, let's say, 40 minutes or so. So basically, those who hold like Rabbeinu Tam, and certain groups do, certain Chabad does, and the Hasidim do. So they hold that 32 minutes. Actually, basically, it's about another half an hour. They end Shabbat another half an hour or so, because they feel Tzedek Kochavim ends later. Okay, so that's the idea of Rabbeinu Tam. I'm not going to test you on it, but something you should know. Anything else that we should know? Okay, that's it. So that's our topic on Tosefet Shabbat. And next, we will be starting the topic of Kiddush. Hope you enjoy this. If you have any questions, let me know. But, listen to it a few times. It's a chance for you to get a sense of, to kind of go over it, make sure you get all the information, follow along in the book, and definitely compare notes with everyone else. And I will see you one class on Friday and the other on Monday.